Hello, everyone. I'm Joshua Wilson with America's Warrior Partnership, Corporate Relation Manager, and I've got a really awesome interview for you today. I'm here with Stephannie Addo with ACJ Luxury Maintenance. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Very cool. Yeah. And she does government contracting. She does educational seminars. She is a fantastic leader and veteran, and she can teach you a little bit about her life and leadership. So it's an honor to have you on today. The first question that I would have would just be to tell us your sort of military story about getting in and leadership and anything that you think is cool over your military time.
Well, I am an Army veteran, and I joined the military at 17, actually. I was going to college. I started college at 17 because my birthday's late. It's in September. So everybody's 18 but me until like the end of the, close to the end of the year. But while I was registering for my classes, I saw my recruiter, whom I'm still friends with now. Like, it's crazy. And so he stops me and asks me, what if I could give you any job you ever wanted? And I'm like, really? You know how they rope you in a little? So I'm like, really? And me being 17 and dumb, I'm like, sure. I stopped and I talked to him, and I ended up joining the reserves. I was there for 8 years. And that's kind of how I got in the military, I would say. My career in the military, I was a 92 Alpha, which is like a warehouse specialist. Ironically, my husband does that now for work. Like he works in the warehouse, but mine is basically logistics. And I enjoyed it, basically learning about it. And I utilize that towards my business now and really understanding and, learning more about the logistics and things like that. So that's a little background on me and my military experience. And I would say, as far as leadership goes within the military, one thing that has stuck with me, and I utilize it in my business as well, is really to never give up. Like, really never give up until the very last end when you see that there's nothing else you could do, but to really, try your best in everything that you do. And I tell my girls that I have 3 kids. So my girls and my son, who's special needs, but I always let them know, do your best. And if you feel good with it at the end of the day, you did your best and you could, move forward. So that's one of the things that kind of stuck with me with the military.
What about ACJ? How did you get started?
So ACJ is named after my kids, really. So ACJ stands for Alyssa, Chloe, and Jacob. It got started in March of 2020, right before the pandemic. I was a part of a company called IVMF for a long time, Institute for Military Veterans and Families. And I was a part of that organization for a while. I've had other businesses before ACJ Luxury Maintenance, but through going through those conferences through IVMF, I actually switched what I was doing. So prior, I was a business coach, and I do have a nonprofit organization after my son called Chance for Autism. But in going through the conferences with IVMF, I saw a lot of women, a lot of Black women that were in the construction field. And it really intrigued me. And I really wanted to learn a little bit more because I've never saw women, that's number one. And I never saw women that look like me in this type of field of janitorial, facility maintenance, construction, anything, trucking. And through going through those conferences a couple of years, I finally settled on what I wanted to specialize in, something that was a little bit easier to get into the government contracting space, because that's what I wanted to do, and something that would kind of pick up fast, right? And so I settled on janitorial. This was before everything went on lockdown with the pandemic. So in March of 2020, I actually settled on janitorial, not knowing that the world was going to close. So I, started the business on, I want to say March 13th of 2020, and literally everything shut down by like March 18th. And I was in the epicenter. So I'm located in New Jersey. And our company kind of took off within New York City because we got a contract or a subcontract to work with the Department of Veterans Affairs between, I want to say we worked in Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. We covered all of those hospitals for janitorial cleaning during the pandemic when it all started. But I didn't know any of that before I started my company. I settled on janitorial because janitorial, for me, I didn't have the upfront money. So for me, janitorial was something where I could put myself in and clean until I'm able to get paid, you know? So that's how I settled on janitorial. Because in the federal arena, of course, if you utilize products, which I thought about doing products, selling products, I had to have the upfront cash or maybe credit to be able to do that, to cover things. And I didn't have that at the time. So I settled on janitorial because it was something I knew I could clean. I definitely got that skill from the military. Waxing floors, you know, stripping, that stuff, you know, I did that. And definitely cleaning up your barracks, all of that stuff. So I knew for sure if there's nothing else I could do, I could clean. And that's sort of how that got started in, you know, everything with ACJ.
Now, the natural question is, how did you survive those challenges of the pandemic leading into the successes that you're having now? What's happening?
So the pandemic adversely affected me as far as when it comes to like while most businesses were closing, my business was growing. And that's mainly just because I was in the janitorial field and we were really needed during that time. And I'm very blessed to say that because I was, you know, in my heart, I'm a person of service. So I really wanted to do something to make a difference during the pandemic because you see so many people hurting and you don't know which way to help them. And I feel really blessed to be able to have served, especially in the hospital capacity. Whether it's just cleaning makes a huge difference, especially for the hospitals, for the staff, things of that nature. So when it came to that, the pandemic adversely affected us. One of the challenges that I had at the beginning of it was, as I said, I started the business in March. April 7th was our first contract, but we found out about it around April 3rd, right? And between April 3rd and April 7th, I had to find 50 employees willing to deploy between 3 different hospitals within 3 days. So it was very, very challenging, but at the same time, the way that I recruited workers, which is, again, something, like I said, you can't give up until you really see it's not going to work. But and that's one of the things I got within the military, but it was very unpredictable the way that I got workers, right? I was calling people at night. I reached out to people with cleaning companies as well to see if they'll be willing to work with me on this contract. I would say to anybody, and if you're interested in getting into the government contracting space, networking is key. Networking and realizing that you can't do it all by yourself and reaching out to other people to work with you, because there's plenty of space and work for everybody. And you grow faster when you work with other people. You're definitely going to grow faster when you work with other people. So with that being said, I reached out to 2 women that had cleaning companies or were within the field. They helped me get workers as well. I placed them as supervisors at each hospital. And then, I utilized Indeed, called people up until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. At that point, it was just like, if you're breathing, can you come into the hospital and work, And I also let them know as well, like, we're going into something that we don't know about, right? The pandemic was just beginning and we didn't know what to expect. So many things was changing. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, Well, it was always wear a mask, but wear gloves and don't wear gloves, one of those things where you don't know what to do. Things were changing from day to day, you could get it from your clothes. It's airborne. Like there was so much stuff where people didn't know what to do. And me asking people to go into the hospitals, I had to be as transparent as possible. And that's one of the things that I did with my employees throughout the whole time. I was very transparent. I let them know, listen, if you're cleaning a COVID room, the hospital was required to give us PPE. If they do not give you the PPE, do not work in those rooms. Do not put yourself at risk. The most important thing that I explain to my employees is that we're doing a service. Your service is important, but at the same time, your safety, your health and safety for your families as well is important. And I was there at the hospitals with them, just overseeing, making sure everything was good. I was traveling between Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn on the daily basis. So my car was getting lots of mileage. There was days, especially in April, where I wasn't getting home till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it was really those different types of challenges and figuring out, but being able to rely on my logistics skills, right, and my leadership skills that I gained, I was able to implement those within ACJ. And that's a long story on how we got started.
So that's sort of the 101 guide on how to survive a pandemic. What about now? What challenges do you see? What successes are you having? And what are you thinking about as a business going forward?
So right now, as a business going forward, I'm really focused on the culture of my business. I'm focused on growth as well. I want a business where employees are really able to grow and provide for their families in exponential ways. And I mean, like being able to buy houses, being able to obtain real estate and just being able to grow. That's one of the things that really attracted me to the GovCon space, because I don't have to pay my employees minimum wages. They go by the prevailing wage, which is always higher than, minimum wage and stuff. And it's always higher than what the state provides, because everything is kind of compiled into one. Because it's contracted, even during the pandemic days, I explained to the workers, this is a contract. So what I want you to do, what you should do, is to make sure to save up your money, because we don't know how long this is going to last, but save your money so that way you have enough to survive, when it's done. As far as now, we have a contract with the Federal Aviation Administration. It's going pretty well. We've had some hiccups in the beginning. So I have about 2 employees that are working that right now. I just graduated from the Goldman Sachs program earlier this year. So we are a little slow in bids because I took some time to really learn how to truly develop a growing business, because Goldman Sachs only works with you when you're on that level of when you're ready to expand. And they worked with me on developing a growth plan for our business. So we're definitely, the goal is to, of course, expand nationally, but also to be able to work within the industrial population. So I want to be able to clean certain power plants, warehouses, things of that nature. So that's where we're growing to right now as a business.
What resources are really helpful that other entrepreneurs should definitely check out? So I can either add it to the webpage or they can at least see it in this video.
Okay, sure. So the first thing I would say is definitely reach out to your local resources within the states. The states have different grants to offer you. They have PTAC offices, that's the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, and there's one in every state, so you can look that up. Utilize your local colleges for interns as well to see, let them know, like I worked with Rutgers University, for example, last year, and I had people doing market research for me. Market research is big when you're getting into your, when you're growing your business. And that was helpful because they were able to like infiltrate other companies. I had them call up our competition and see how they're obtaining their workers, see where they're located. And you can really kind of see what your competition is doing in that aspect of it. But in exchange, they're getting credit because it's something that they had to do to graduate, So look at your colleges. The Institute for Veteran Military Families, that was big for me. I've been a part of them since 2014. That was my very first business, which was the daycare that I had for a number of years. And I have not really missed a conference since 2014. So I learned a lot through them, and through them is the reason why I got that first subcontract, because it was one of the teachers there that actually hired us to work with them with the hospitals as well. Goldman Sachs is also a great resource. They work with you on learning how to team build, developing your growth plan strategy. things of that nature. So, and then there's CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions. Those are really good with helping you to be able to obtain a loan for your businesses as well. But you do have to have your books straight and stuff of that nature. And in talking about books, get yourself a bookkeeper. If you are in business, you need to get yourself a bookkeeper. And I would say I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they're like, I can't afford a bookkeeper, but at least use Fiverr. You could use Upwork, where somebody could work on your QuickBooks one time to be able to get stuff in order. Because when you're going to banks, they want to see your profit and loss statements. They want to see your balance sheets. They want to see your aging reports. So many different things. So the number one thing is to really get your books in order. So I know that was a lot. And network, last but not least, network. There's going to be people that you see that are interviewed from Joshua. So, people that I networked with, like Anika Bell, Sheena Parker. Me and Sheena have been working together since 2018, and we've definitely worked really well with growing our businesses together. So get yourself that accountability partner and network with people. So I think that's it.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, no, I mean, I would echo that sentiment to anyone who is with us today. Please definitely use the links. They are all free links. Connect with us at AWP. We're also free. We're always free, confidential. And yeah, anybody who we interview, just about everybody has said, reach out to us if you have any questions. So, if you can't figure out how to contact them through the link, you can always reach out to me and I will make the connection. So I do think that is a very good point.
Yes.
I'm grateful to have you guys in my network now as well. So that's very exciting. Do you have any last remarks? Did we miss anything at all?
I don't think so. If you guys want to get in contact with me, you can reach out to me through LinkedIn. A lot of people like to reach out to me via LinkedIn. You can find me. It's Dr. Stephannie Addo Zuniga, Stephannie with 2 N's. So you'll be able to find me. Just message me. I am responsive. Just give me some time, but I am responsive and I will respond. So I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service and thank you for your time with me today.